Okie dokie, work in progress number 3 on Age of Apocalypse Colossus. So, worked till about 11:30 last night on this guy to get all this areas, leather areas done, and they look really good. Sent pictures to my client. He's loving it, so that's all that matters. So, next step, more masking. So, this is another reason why I use tape, because this needs to stay masked until I get all this done. So, I'm not going to show a whole lot of it because it's the same process as before. The only difference is we're masking off everything we painted yesterday. So this will take a while because there's a lot of intricate areas in here. And this is one of those areas where people say, well, why don't you use silly putty? Well, because I'm just going to spray lacquers and I'm going to spray automotive 2K clear coat on these. Silly putty does not play well with lacquers or 2K clear coats. It melts because it is a rubber. And lacquers are solvent-based paint. If I was to do lacquers and then the automotive 2K, a good chance is that when I went to go take the silly putty up, it would peel the paint off around the edges, which has happened to me before, so I don't do it anymore. It's just the nature of the beast, so we get to do it the long way. So again, I'll just show a little bit of this. We're going to do the same thing we did yesterday, or not yesterday, a couple days ago. Yesterday was I finished masking yesterday and painting, so that's why it was like a 13-hour day in the studio. Which if I'm on a roll, I'll sit here and I'll paint for 14 hours, and I'll work 14 hours in the studio. If things are going in the right direction and things are working out, and I know I needed, in order to kind of stay on track with this guy, I needed to get these areas done yesterday so I could go on to masking today. So again, we're just gonna do this. Let me I should have a bunch of toothpicks out already, but I don't know where they are. My work area gets messy very quickly. We try to clean up a little bit every night. Again, we're just gonna go in here and we're just gonna go mask on top of all the stuff we did yesterday. So this will take quite a while today. Lots of masking. And then once it's all masked off, I'll go ahead and I'll probably do a light coat or primer just to get everything in the same tonal range for the base coat of metallic red, because again, red is a shitty job at hiding, and your base coat has a huge influence on what your color is going to look like. So it's always a good idea just to put on just get everything in the same tonal range before you start spraying your color. Well, actually what I may do is I'll put down a layer of silver. Actually, I've got a Mr. Color. It's called Gun Chrome. It's not really chrome. It's a pretty bright silver, and that makes a good base coat for a metallic red. So like right here, I got. So a buddy of mine messaged me the other day if I've ever used the Tamiya line tape. I do have some Tamiya line tape. Let me show it to you. So it's this stuff. It's basically very expensive pinstriping tape. I actually have some pinstriping tape. This stuff is good for exactly that, pinstriping. It's kind of stretchy, so it allows you to kind of stretch it to an extent, but again, it's very low tack and it likes to lift. So I don't like to put it around curves and stuff because I find it wants to lift when I have a lot of undulations in the surface. It wants to lift because it's just tacky enough. That's what's great about Tamiya tape, is that it's just tacky enough to stay, but not too tacky. It's going to lift your paint. I mean, it's like they've got like the perfect formula. And it's not cheap. Each roll can be between $2.50 and $4 a roll of tape. So it is expensive, but it's just kind of like my go-to. I've been using that washi tape a little bit, but this is still just, it is what it is. I'd rather spend the extra money and just know I'm going to get really good results. It's You know, you try to save a couple bucks here and there, but in the end, if it's not performing the way you want, you're spending way more time. You know, how much is your time worth later on to fix something that if you would have just spent extra couple bucks in the beginning to do right the first time? So it's all balanced. You know, it's like, because my paint fees include supplies. So, you know, I'm billing 25 bucks an hour, but that includes my supplies. So, it's, you know, supplies are expensive and they're hard to get right now. A lot of stuff I like to use, it's really hard to get. The pandemic fucked everything up as far as supply chain. So again, I'm not going to show a lot of this. It's the same process. Since we've got a lot of complex shapes and stuff, we just go in here with little pieces. They conform to the shapes easier. And I go through and I make sure to seal each one down really well. So today's goal is to get the metallic red done. And after the metallic red, for the most part, then the Colossus figure is done. I'll have some let me show you something on the feet here. So on the bottom of the shoes, there's a lot of these great details. So I kind of did a wash last night, kind of just dirtied them up. I did a wash and I wasn't real careful about it because they got these great details. And this particular shoe has some dirt on it from the base. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the metallic red, but then later on I'll go in and I'll hand paint these little areas of dirt and stuff. And I'll do a quick silly putty over the glossy area to hit it with flat. So that's one instance where I'll use silly putty if I just want to like kind of do a quick mask on something. So I'm going to continue doing this, and then we'll come back and we'll spray some paint. Okay, so about 7 hours later, 8 hours later, I got the red sprayed. I didn't videotape it, but it took me over 6 hours just to mask everything. So this is the metallic red I have now. And it's a little bit on the bright side. That's okay, because we're going to go doing shading, and it's going to knock it down a little bit. But I can see through here that's going to play well nicely with the other color we got going. Once we hit it with gloss, it's going to play nice. So yeah, so it took about 6.5 hours or more to mask everything. Again, it takes me a long time to mask. Hopefully I don't have any bleed throughs or anything like that. I'm going to let this metallic dry for a little while, and then we're going to do some shading. So what I did for the metallic red is I put down a base coat of silver, and I can't tell you what color, so I basically took all the silvers I had and just mixed them together. And it's kind of like a bluish silver, like an ice silver, and laid that down to kind of get a even coat. I didn't go with black because I didn't want to knock the red down too much right out of the gate. I wanted it to be a little bit on the bright side because I knew I was going to shade it. And then I went in and I sprayed on, I've got a custom mix of metallic here. It's a Mr. Color GX 202 metal silver. I got 2 bottles of this mixed with 1 bottle of just metallic red. So this is a little bit on the pinkish side, and so I added a little more metallic red, it's a little deeper red, and it got me to this. So I'm right where I want to be. This needs to dry for a couple hours so I can really handle it well, but this doesn't cover well. You just got to mist it on, keep building it up, building it up. You just can't put it on one coat. So this is about 4 or 5, I'd say maybe 2 medium coats and then 2 light coats of paint. But here you can see we got it all sprayed on. And then we're going to go in and I'm going to mix up like a clear red. And we're going to do a shading on all these details and everything. That will take a very long time because this kit has a shitload of details. So that's where I'm at. And we'll come back. I'll show you some shading in a couple hours. Okay, so this is dried down for a little bit. And now I'm going to go in and do my shading. So I mixed up a clear red with just a little bit of clear black and smoke. Kind of made this kind of deep clear, my custom deep clear red. You can see I've done a little bit of shading already. But I'm just going to go in and hit all these little details. These little rivets are going to hit pretty hard. So those are actually a slightly different color. A little darker red. These rivets and stuff. I got my needle locked down pretty tight, so only a little bit of paint comes out at a time. Allows me to build up a spot relatively easily without flooding the area or causing any pooling or anything. So since these are going to be high gloss, whenever you do a gloss, your shading gets knocked back a little bit. So I'm going to make it a little more exaggerated. So hopefully it still comes through after I gloss everything. But again, it's just going in here and slowly building this all up. Anywhere I want a little definition, I'm going to go in and add some of the shading. And this will overall bring everything down a little bit, bring it a little more into the vibrant red area, which is what I want. So, just like that. So I'm going to do that to everything, and I'll see you in a few hours. Okay, so I got done masking and shading. It's pretty subtle, and it's looking up a little brighter here in camera. This is him hand holding this. I just got done spraying clear coat. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. That's closer. But it looks really good. So this will be the gloss red for the armor. In case you want to autocorrect, which I don't like. But yeah, so this looks good. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. We'll take the tape off and see what it looks like against everything else. So this is two medium wet coats of 2K Automotive clear coat on top of this. So after the shading, I just sprayed 2 coats of that. It's looking good. Okay, well, I kind of got working and I forgot to record some more stuff. So basically what I've done so far since the last little clip was I took all the masking tape off, and my masking was really, really good. I don't have any edges that are wonky. I didn't have any lifting or anything like that. So today what I've been doing, I've been kind of gluing him together. He came in the box as one piece, so I want to put him back in the box as one piece. So I've been using 30-minute epoxy and just slowly putting them together. Right now I've got epoxy on this leg right here, and it's curing. So far I've got the torso separated, and I'm going to leave this off because I'm going to glue it on in the end. But what I want to do is, I knew this was going to happen. Putting the piece on, it rubs on the base, and I've actually gone through and I've sanded a few areas down to prevent some rubbing. But anytime you have surface-to-surface contact, you're going to have some rubbing. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to add a little. Once the base is painted, I'm going to go add a little bit of battle damage to the armors and stuff on his legs and the feet. So I'll do some weathering and stuff on there. I don't think I'll do it over the whole piece, but just maybe on the feet and the legs a little bit, just to kind of mask where it is hitting and rubbing, because there's paint rubbing off on part here. There's a little bit of paint rubbing on the back of the heel here. So it just is what it is. So we'll just kind of hide that. We're going to hide that a little bit with some weathering. The only thing I painted today was the X-Men logo, and also I forgot to paint 2 other pieces. There's a little strap on here. Let me get this out of the way and I'll show you the torso, because it's really good. So this is all glued together now. The arms are one piece. The hands are all epoxy. This is all one piece. I forgot to paint 2 areas. One was underneath the arm here. So I had to mask that off and paint it, and I forgot to paint this strap. So I just painted those this morning. I got a few brush touch-ups here, again, just from handling it. But he's looking really good. So what I'm going to do now is, let me put the head on because the head's done. And it looks really good. There it is. I haven't glued on the back part of the bandana, but there's the head. Looks really good. Painted the eyes, everything. So let's back up a little bit. It's looking a little bright in camera. I may knock it down when I do my processes video, but he's looking really good. So for the most part, the major painting on the figure part is done. A lot of work so far. This thing is this thing's really big and it's heavy. But just a ton of masking. Probably just in masking alone, I have 20 hours of masking so far. But it pays off in the end. I would not get as clean results as Silly Putty. At least I wouldn't. And I'd be picking it out of stuff. So I just like the tape. It works well. But the metal looks really good on him. I'm really pleased with the tone. The metallics look good. It was pretty bright at the beginning, but after I did the shading, it kind of brought it down a little bit. It's kind of got some nice vibrance to it, and the kind of muted leather straps and stuff looks really good. So the colors are looking really good. My client's loving it. I went ahead and glued in all these parts right here, these little buckles, so those are now on. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll start working on the base, but I'm also going to work on the Shadow Cat base at the same time because those need to match. So I don't know if I'll do a work in progress video on the Shadow Cat, or I may combine this and make this one really long work in progress on both of these pieces. But I'm going to call this work in progress done. And then the next one we'll start working on the base, and the last bit of painting on him will be some weathering where the paint's kind of chipping off anyway because it's hitting the base. So as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Catch you guys later.